Don't be dead. I'm Franklin with the Travel Guy, and welcome to the Czech Republic. Come on now, there's a world out there and it's waiting to be explored. If you're craving an adventure, the Travel Guy's got what you're looking for. Sights and sounds, streets to town, just take a look around. As you dream of paradise, there's advice we must bestow. Don't just pack your bags and hit the road, you gotta know before you go.
The Czech Republic is a landlocked country in Central Europe that is bordered by Germany, Austria, Poland, and Slovakia.
My first stop was the capital, Prague. When you ask a local about Prague, they're proud to point out that Prague is the heart of Europe. And you know what? I believe them. Prague was settled about 500 AD. And about 300 years later, because of war and turmoil, two fortresses were built. One of them was the Prague Castle. Now, if you look inside the castle, the churches, the halls, the gates, everything has maintained its charm from each period of its history. Oh, man. And I'm so glad I picked the steepest and longest entranceway into the castle.
The castle does get crowded, especially during the changing of the guards. And these guys don't move at all, no matter who's next to them. Once inside the castle walls, you'll be greeted by Prague's most distinctive landmark.
This is the St. Vitus Cathedral. Construction originally started in 1344, but what's interesting is that construction didn't end until about the 20th century. Now, over the centuries, this place has seen many coronations and a lot of burials of kings. Today, it's the most prominent building in the Prague Castle. It also now houses the crown jewels and also the king's tombs.
You will be doing a lot of walking because there are so many visual treasures to be seen within the castle walls. So the best thing to do is to take your time, take loads of photos, and keep yourself hydrated on warm days.
Golden Lane is a very popular and colorful tourist attraction. This short lane got its name back in the 17th century when a lot of goldsmiths used to live here. Today, you can find all kinds of tourist souvenirs.
Golden Lane is a very narrow and picturesque street where you'll find many artisan shops. The doorways are quite small and short, so duck when entering the shops. Another attraction within the Prague Castle is the Royal Garden. A nice place to visit, but please stay off the grass. The Royal Garden has many spots to sit, so enjoy the view and the fragrant aromas.
North Bohemia offers dazzling landscapes and sublime hiking opportunities. I've arrived in Hrensko, which is a little town that borders the German countryside. Now, it's the perfect starting spot for any adventure in the Czech-Switzerland National Park. Just don't spend all your time in town. Make sure you get out into the trails. If you're looking to escape the noise of the city, then the 79 squared kilometers of trails, unspoiled nature, and fascinating sandstone formations provide the perfect alternative. This protected landscape region is one of Bohemia's characteristic rock towns and occupies a 5 by 35 kilometer strip along the German border, perfect for the outdoor enthusiast. Numerous well-marked trails connect unique sites with breathtaking panoramas, like the Falcon's Nest, a neat museum built right into the side of the stone. The most popular and crowded tourist attraction along the trail is the Stone Gate, which arches to just over 30 meters in height. In my opinion, though, the most picturesque location was still a short hike away. I've been searching and searching for the Labbé sandstone rock towns, and all to no avail. So I stopped and asked one of the locals, and he said, I'm already here. Apparently, rock towns refers to a number of stones that are all in close proximity to each other, like these ones over here. The beauty of the sandstone rocks is further amplified by the depths of greenery in the surrounding valley. The rocks are a unique natural phenomenon and are part of a more extensive series of rocks which occur across much of the northern part of the Czech Republic. Just a few minutes from the rock towns and still within the national park, you'll find Edmund's Gorge. Now, the best way to check it out is in a gondola. You get to cruise up the Kamenitsa River and check out all the beautiful Jurassic landscapes.
After a great tour of the Prague Castle, I want to check out the Charles Bridge and some of the sites along the Vltava River by boat. Let's check it out.
A leisurely boat cruise along the Vltava River is a great way to see the Charles Bridge and the surrounding area.
The Charles Bridge was built in the 14th century by the Emperor Charles IV, and it is very well fortified by towers at both sides. It's all of this area in the Middle Ages used to get flooded every spring. It was a very fertile area. And because the Charles Bridge was the only bridge here for about 439 years, it was built over this place to make a safe and reliable crossing. This bridge was crossed for those 439 years. It was crossed by the Via Magna, one of the most important trade routes of Europe. And of course, we collected tax for the crossing. That's the reason why this city became so rich.
Andrew, the boat pilot, was giving me a great history lesson. I got an insight into Prague that you just can't find in any guide.
Is it true that the builders used eggs to keep the stones together?
Well, the legend says so. And I've heard both the answers, yes and no. The legend says that really Charles IV, he ordered all the villages from around Prague to bring carts with eggs, and he added them to the mortar. I think that the eggs are there because I can see very often doves and birds eating the mortar. So I think that's to get calcium. Now there is a very important legend very closely tied to the bridge, and that's the legend of Saint John of Nepomuk. Saint John, he was a confessor of the queen in the late 14th century. And one day the king, he was jealous of the queen. So he ordered Saint John to reveal the secrets from the confessions. Saint John was a very honorable man. He refused to do so. As a punishment then, he was tortured to death. And from that place of the bridge, where his statue stands today, his dead body was thrown to the river. So here's a man, he was very unlucky. That's why we believe that if you touch his statue, you will have more luck than he had.
Yeah, that's where I'll go next, to touch the statue of St. John. But first, back to the base.
It's like one of the most unique places of Prague, really, believe me. It consists of 4 parts, each part built in a different century. This first part was built in the 17th century. The second part, the lowest, the darkest, that's from the 12th century. And that's the last remaining arch of the first stone bridge of Prague, the Judith Bridge. The last place where you can see it. The third part, the one with the lights, from the 19th century. And the last one is the Charles Bridge, 14th century. So now you're sailing through 4 centuries of our past. You're sailing through time.
The Charles Bridge is the most visited site in Prague. The bridge has 30 statues lining both of its sides. They look awesome, but they are only copies of the real ones. But they do make great photo subjects.
Karlovy Vary is a very fashionable and glamorous town, and it gained notoriety in the early 14th century by chance, when one of Emperor Charles IV's hunting dogs fell into a natural hot spring. Now, delighted by this discovery of the hot spring, Charles decided to build a hunting lodge here. And not only that, he decided to claim the area as Charles's spa. Well, I'm off to find a spa of my own. Karlovy Vary is the oldest and most famous of the Bohemian spas. Its very foundation and subsequent development has always been tied to the town's curative powers. After Charles IV's hunting incident, it was realized that great profit could be made from the warm springs. The town soon became a magnet for European aristocrats. Situated on the confluence of the rivers Tepla and Ore, it is surrounded by 3 mountain ranges, where the picturesque river valley winds through wooded hills. More than 70 hot mineral springs can be found in the surrounding region. In Karlovy Vary, there are 12 hot springs that are used for various spa treatments, which include mostly drinking cures and baths. The water temperatures, as I learned the hard way, vary from 39 to 73 degrees Celsius. There are 15 natural hot springs, both in and near the colonnades along the Tepla River. The biggest and hottest of them all is the Plzen Vridlo, a place where you can sit and enjoy the vapors of a naturally spewing geyser. The 13th mineral hot spring feeds the geyser, which is housed in an interesting glass structure that traps all the supposedly healing properties of the steam. In ancient times, medical treatments differed greatly from our contemporary ones. Doctors would recommend that patients drink up to 8 liters of hot water per day or spend 6 to 8 hours in a bath filled with mineral water. And luckily, there's plenty of water to go around at this spring. Unlike most geysers, this one erupts with great consistency. While exploring the many hot springs, I've seen so many people carrying these guys, what look like little teacups. Now, the deal is you're supposed to fill it up with mineral water to cure all your digestive illnesses. I've come to taste test the water here at the geyser. Apparently it's the best and the hottest. Oh, and the locals have told me I should wash it down with some wafers, oplatki.
Next on my list is the Old Town Square.
The Old Town Square is one of the few remaining authentic old town centers in Europe. Now, the best way to check this place out is to walk around. Some of the attractions include the astronomical clock, the tower climb, the many churches in this area, and yes, even the touristy restaurants and souvenir shops.
A walk around the square is very delightful and at times very crowded. The streets leading in and out of the square house many restaurants, souvenir shops, refreshment stands, and my personal favorite, the marionette shops. They look so real. The biggest attraction in the old square is the clock tower. Every hour on the hour, large crowds gather to watch the show. Going up the tower is a treat in a very cool looking elevator, and the panoramic view from the top is breathtaking, so don't forget your camera.
What goes better with spa treatments and natural hot springs than shopping? And Karlovy Vary has no lack of it. From high-end shops to shops for the rest of us, they've got you covered. Make sure you look for porcelain, glassworks, and a potent herb liqueur that the Karlovy Varians are popular for. If you've been hiding a pair of ostentatious designer shades or an excessively wide-brimmed hat, then Karlovy Vary is the place to air it out. Several centuries ago, the region began attracting a growing population of aristocrats with plenty of money and time to kill in between spa treatments. As a result, it became a center for the arts. One of the art forms that gained popularity was porcelain making. First produced in Bohemia while under the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the number of factories jumped to 77 by 1928. The factories employed almost 20,000 people and produced over 35,000 tons of porcelain annually. Czech glassware is also a famous export of the region. Dating back to the Renaissance period, the first stone cutters came to the court of the Czech king and produced what they referred to as mountain crystal. And since then, Czech glassware companies have become official suppliers to many imperial courts, including the British royalty. After the discovery of the hot springs, the town's popularity was further enhanced in 1790 by Dr. David Beher. Now, while analyzing the water source of the town, he managed to make a potent herb liqueur. What's interesting about it is not only does it make you tipsy, but it also makes you healthier when you drink it. Becherovka, named after its inventor, is flavored with anise seeds, cinnamon, and approximately 32 other herbs. It's often served straight, but can also be mixed with tonic water to make what the Czech refer to as beton, the Czech word for concrete. With its promise of aiding digestion, the liqueur is often referred to as the 13th spring. And there's one more item that you have to invest in while in the Czech Republic: a tankard, an ornately hand-carved and decorated beer mug. Choosing the one that suits your taste, though, can prove to be a little bit difficult.
Outside the city of Prague and just before the town of Plzen, you're going to find the Smirnov Castle. This place was built in the late 12th century. And guess what? You're not going to find this in any guidebook. And I can't believe this. They rolled out the red carpet for me.
Walking through the hallways, I couldn't help myself. No one was around, so I jousted with my air sword. And I won! Well, in my own mind, that is. The banquet hall still maintains its medieval charm and splendor. And outside, a beautiful chapel with magnificent works of art, a gorgeous courtyard, and an adjoining bell tower.
For those of you that love beer, you have this place to thank, the Pilsner Brewing Company. It originally started brewing beer in 1842 and since then has become one of the world's most popular beers. Well, you'll know it's an authentic Pilsner because it has the drawing of this gate on its label.
Inside the brew factory, I could see the process that makes this one of the world's most popular beers. But I wanted a tasting, so down into the cellar I went.
The cellars at the Pilsner Brewing Company are really neat to explore. Construction started in 1839, and over the next 100 years, workers dug out about 9 kilometers with the tunnels under here. This is where they age their beer, and if you want to taste their beer, you have to come through here. And keep this in mind, it's pretty chilly.
I was willing to fight the chill for a taste of this popular beer known the world over. So through the tunnels I went to find the vats for the tasting.
Well, how neat is this? As I entered the cellar, I was given a glass and told I can have some unfiltered, unpasteurized Pilsner Urquell beer. It's the only place in the world you can have this. Oh, that's good. good. What goes great with a Pilsner beer is traditional Czech food. In round one, I have my soup, which includes goulash, garlic soup, and chicken soup. Oh yeah, food time is my favorite time. Round two of my traditional Czech feast looks like it's even gonna be better. I have my dumplings, my white and purple cabbage, my pork, my sausages, my duck, and I even have gravy to wash it down. I'm gonna love round two. Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Frank, how's it going?
Great, I love the beer here.
You call that a beer? Now that is a beer.
Holy mackerel.
That's right.
Well, I visited Prague and I just love the city. You got so much history there. You got gorgeous buildings, the architecture, you got the statues, all kinds of art. And man, the beer is great.
Pretty good.
But let me tell you, the food here, I mean, I've had pork, dumplings, duck, sausages. Oh, I can't have enough of that stuff.
I guess I could say that I'm surprised, but maybe not. The Czech Republic's a really great place to visit if you're looking for a diversity of activities, from the nature in the North Bohemia to the natural hot springs in Karlovy Vary. I've had the best of both worlds.
Well, you know what, Lauren? It pays to know before you go. Cheers!
Na zdraví.
If you're going to visit any of the attractions in the city, you're going to need one of these, a tram pass. But remember, once inside, make sure you get it stamped, because if not, you might be faced with a hefty fine. Similar words have different meanings in different countries. For example, if you ask to go to a nightclub in the Czech Republic, you're actually asking to go to a brothel. So be careful what you ask for. Renting a car in Prague is pretty easy, but parking it downtown is pretty difficult. Parking spots are only reserved for local residents, so make sure your hotel has underground parking available for you. Prague is a very safe city to visit, but in certain areas like tourist attractions, and even the subway, you may experience pickpockets. So keep your valuables concealed and don't make their job easy for them. Hey, my wallet!